Hey everybody, Charlie here, and today's podcast discusses the two things they say you should never talk about around the kitchen table: coronavirus and politics. But in all seriousness, the coronavirus, well, the situation's changing day by day. It is a virus in motion. So the numbers that we throw out on this podcast may not hold true when you listen to it. Our podcast comes out weekly on a Thursday, but you may be listening to it on Saturday or 2 months into the future. Who knows? The important thing is that the core concepts that we discuss here are going to hold absolutely true no matter when you listen to it. So pay attention. It's really important because the information that we're putting out will keep you healthy no matter when you hear this podcast. But until we get to that, I want you to listen to this.
Texas. They say everything's bigger here, and they're right. We've got big cars, big hearts, and even bigger steaks. This is beef country, Texas, home to the Alamo, the Cowboys, and the largest military installation known to man. So big, it has a big name. Fort Hood, the great place. It's got a Texas-sized podcast as well. And this is it, right here. Fort Hood's great big podcast. Yeehaw.
December of last year. Allow me to take you back not so many months. Late December, China put out a call and said, we got an issue. We got something going on here. Fast forward here, now coming to the end of February, and you've got quite a few people in China who've been quarantined. You've got people all over the world, little pockets of people that have been quarantined. There's something in the news every day about coronavirus. All right. And it can be a scary thing when you think about quarantines, because what do we know about quarantines? We know what we've seen in movies, and it makes us scared, the idea to be cut off from other people because there's something that might hurt us. So when the news media and internet people, and they start saying quarantine, and they start saying, ooh, boogity, boogity, we get scared. Today we have with us Lieutenant Colonel Benita Harris, the Chief of Army Public Health Nursing at Cardamcy here at Fort Hood, and Captain Eduardo Mendez Landa, an Army Public Health Nurse. And we're going to talk not only coronavirus, but the other viruses that are actually much more of a threat to us here in Texas. Because the last time I checked, there was no coronavirus in Texas.
Yes.
There was no coronavirus in Oklahoma or Louisiana or that other state that's kind of square-shaped to our other side, or even Mexico. There's no coronavirus in Mexico.
Yes.
But there are 26 countries, including Singapore, Korea, Japan, Germany, Italy, and of course the U.S., to name a few. And all these countries have something in common. They all host American service members in one way or another. So, how do we keep our service members safe who are overseas, or like we've got people here going to Defender 2020 in Germany and all across Europe? How do we keep them safe from something like coronavirus?
Really, the biggest thing that we can do is washing hands. That is going to be first and foremost.
Are you crazy? Washing hands? That's it?
Absolutely. Washing hands and managing your cough, coughing into your elbow, not coughing into your hands and touching other things, because that's how the disease can be spread.
That's very interesting.
Absolutely. And along with that, getting the flu shot, which our soldiers are required to have that done.
Now that's gonna protect you from the flu, but it's not going to protect you from coronavirus.
Absolutely, it's going to protect you from the flu, which is a bigger threat than coronavirus.
Well, yeah.
Yes, and so as we look at coronavirus, what we really see is coronavirus is like a cold virus, and it's spread when people cough or sneeze, and it gets in contact with their mucous membranes, and it can be spread from person to person that way. The good thing is that when we look at China and we look at if we look at ourselves here, even though we're talking about overseas, when we look at those populations and the cramped conditions, they're at greater risk because they have less space, because that's going to help also the distance between people.
Yeah, there's a lot of space here in Texas. We got all the way from here to there.
I know.
And nobody in between.
This is Captain Mendes over here.
Yeah, hello.
And just to add to what Colonel Harris was saying, that hand washing piece is really the biggest thing that we advocate for, because it is how you introduce not just flu or these other diseases, but any disease.
Wow.
Practicing it, and of course, practicing it the right way with soap, especially when they're visibly soiled, for 20 seconds at least, it will keep you safe.
Wow. So, and yeah, because we touch a whole lot of stuff in the day. I think people don't realize how much stuff we touch in a day. Now, I have a friend who lives in China. Okay, they are Chinese. They're in the middle of this right now. And talking to them, I asked, how can I help you? And so they gave me a list of things that they needed that I could send. One of those was face masks. Another one of those was hand soap and hand sanitizer, because they realize really quick how important it is in cleaning your hands. And that's not just with coronavirus. That's with everything. I mean, if you go to H-E-B, you'll see before you touch the carts, they have hand sanitizer, because you don't know if the person who touched it before you had a cold, had the flu.
Absolutely. And so it's going to be important, just like when you go to the grocery store, wiping down those baskets, wiping down your worker area, wiping down your home, things that you touch a lot, doorknobs, the computer keyboards, your cell phone. Those are going to be important, because you can potentially pick up those germs from those items.
And I think it's interesting, you brought up the flu early on. Right now, we have 43,000 people-ish in China who have coronavirus, all right? There are 1.36 billion people in China, okay?
Yes.
That means that only 0.00031% of the population of China has coronavirus.
Wow. I didn't realize that statistic was that low.
Yeah, well, it doesn't seem like a lot.
I didn't realize you could do math.
I couldn't. That was all computer aided.
He didn't do it.
I know.
You pulled it.
Calculators are my friend.
And so when you look at the Hunan province in China and you look at their population, we would have to look at our top 7 most populated cities in the U.S. to even get that number of people. That's how many people are in that province. So there's a huge number of people. I think it's like 22 million people in that area.
And what's amazing, the internet, because that's what feeds this, isn't it? If we didn't have the internet, would we even be hearing about what was happening in China today? Would it even be a blip on our radar? Because there's only been a handful of people, not even a handful in the picture.
It would definitely be in our radar, because that's what we do.
Well, yeah, it'd be on your radar, but I'm saying
I would think so.
The normal people's radar. The internet is a great resource for information, but it's a double-edged sword, because for all the good information that you're getting 50 pieces of bad information.
That is very much true. And one thing, to clarify some of this, many websites you can go to, we in public health, we use the CDC, and that is what we want patients and our population to go to as well. Because this website, the CDC, is also providing information to patients, to the regular people, so you can read in normal language, hey, how can I protect myself?
Yeah, CDC, and that's where we went to get a lot of our information, because you just Google coronavirus and boom, all the good stuff, all the bad stuff. And it seems every day I'm seeing more and more sensationalism. Yeah. The good news here in the States is that we've got an election going on, so that kinds to distract people.
Well, people would still be getting that information because it would be coming through on their TV.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
What have you heard about it, Brianna?
Well, I've heard that the virus started from bats. I think they're still looking into exactly where it originated from. But, when I look at the articles, the headlines seem really scary. But when you actually read it, it doesn't seem that bad, and I'm not worried about it, like you mentioned earlier, because it's not in Texas, and we're more at risk for just like, even if you were to contract it, the likelihood of you, passing away from it is extremely low. Like, I know that.
Well, you say that because you're so young and fit.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying, like, I saw a statistic that said that the death rate for it is just slightly above like flu or influenza rates. So it's
not even that, because right now, so you've got the 43,000-ish people at the moment who have it. You have a little bit over 1,000 people that have died. You want to talk death rates? The flu. The flu killed 61,200 odd people last year. And you don't see people running around going, oh my gosh, we got to buy masks. We got to do all this stuff. I can't get the flu. When the flu, for us, is the big bad concern that we have to worry about.
Yeah, it's true. Well, and I've said in the past, I don't think I've ever said it like here before, but this is kind of maybe not extreme. Well, some people would say it's an extremist view, but I consider like news organizations to be a form of like terrorism. Like, we're scaring ourselves.
Well, I don't really have any comeback for that.
No?
That's
well, I mean, because it's used like, because it's that sensationalism, like you mentioned. Like, you want people to click on that story. You want to get that ad revenue to make money.
So what you're saying is the weaponization of sensationalism for the almighty dollar.
Yes.
Let's blow this up so that people will click on it. We can instill fear, and then people will come back to get the latest information when really it wasn't something you needed to worry about in the first place.
Yes.
Well, that's why we're here. We're spreading information and putting people at ease.
Yeah.
Unless you haven't had the flu vaccine, in which case, what are you doing? Get the flu vaccine.
So they can call their local primary healthcare provider and, get the hours that the flu vaccine is being offered. We are in the peak of flu season right now. Across the U.S., most states are experiencing elevated levels of flu from their baseline, to include Texas.
Wow.
The flu shot will help protect you against the flu. And say if you do get the flu, if you've had the flu shot, it can lessen the amount of time that you're sick and reduce the symptoms that you have. So it's very important to get the flu. And children starting at the age of 6 months and older, the flu vaccine is recommended.
All right. Now, there are some people out there that say vaccines are no good. What would you say to those people?
I would disagree. I would absolutely disagree. I think part of the problem is what we're not seeing is people, we're not seeing people prior to the invention of the vaccines that we have right now that are saving lives. And I don't want to get back to that, to, pre-vaccine times.
Sure.
But, I absolutely support vaccines.
So for the advice that I have for those who are hesitant is to make an appointment with individuals like ourselves in our clinics, where we can provide that education that sometimes the primary care provider is not able to do due to time constraint or whatever it may be. But the patient who's hesitant, they should look for other resources to, get that, whatever it is, that doubt that's making them should I take it? Should I not? Just get those answers from somebody who's a professional, again, such as public health, or more information from their provider.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, in today's day and age, people oftentimes just look for information that bolsters their own opinion and might not challenge what they believe. Now, as far as protecting yourself from the flu, we have hand washing, the number one thing you can do. Keep those hands clean. Do you need any special kind of soap? Could it be any soap? Does it need to be antibacterial? What kind of soap are we talking about?
No, it doesn't need to be antibacterial soap. It's going to be the soap along with the friction of washing your hands that's going to help remove those germs.
It's like you're burning making a little tiny furnace with your hands, burning those things away. Die, flu, die. What about masks? Do masks help? Are they effective?
So what masks help with is so if I am sick with a respiratory illness and I'm coughing, it helps prevent the spread, how far my germs are going to go. Now, if I'm sick, is it going to protect you? Not necessarily, no.
Because Asia is all about the masks.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so on the CDC, they talk about, how the mask help those that are sick to contain their virus, but it doesn't really protect the people that aren't sick.
There's also been a jump in eye protection, oddly enough. There's been a report out there that, and going back to coronavirus can spread through your eyes. It's so contagious. All you have to do is look and it can get in your eyes. So people are buying protective goggles. I sense that may not be super accurate.
So actually, within your eyes, you have the mucous membranes too.
Sure.
So, touching your hands, like your mouth, your eyes, your nose, they're all mucous membranes. So it's a potential portal of entry.
Right.
Yes.
Well, but if you keep your hands clean, then it shouldn't be an issue.
And we're going to circle back to the cough etiquette that the Colonel was talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. You need to cough into your sleeve. When you sneeze, you need to use a tissue, because when you are coughing without doing so, you're spreading that drop, which is why people are potentially using the glasses or whatever for eye protection.
Yeah. How's the flu doing here in our area of Texas right now? What do the numbers look like?
Well, just like the rest of Texas, they're elevated. The numbers for the Bell County area are elevated.
All right. But if people get that vaccine, wash their hands, cough into their arms, they should be good to go.
And staying home when you're sick.
Stay at
Absolutely.
home.
Oh, yes. But see, I have a problem where if I'm sick, I have to still report in. So I'm going into the clinic when I'm ill to get like a renewal of quarters. I feel like that's counterproductive.
Yes, it is unfortunate. As soldiers, we do need to do that. But again, it's good communication with your provider, letting them know, hey, this just started, or I've been with this for 2 days. So maybe they can adjust your quarters to not just 24 hours, but 48. And also when that soldier does walking into that clinic, that's what the Colonel was saying earlier, make sure that soldier uses the mask as soon as they get in, and avoid touching anything in that waiting room until they're seen by the provider.
And the important thing with the mask too is not just covering your mouth, but covering your nose and mouth, because I see a lot of people with it.
I see that so much too.
You said earlier we were at the height of the flu season right now. How long does it last?
So the flu season officially started on the 29th of September, and we continue to vaccinate through the 30th of June. We typically see a peak in February. I hopefully, expect that they'll start to drop off. Mm-hmm. But, we had a peak last February also.
Because around here, it always seems like it's the winter months in Texas.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's flu season.
It holds out.
Absolutely.
And then you don't really worry about it again. And then they're working on next year's flu.
Right now.
They're working on it now, right?
That's right.
How do you know what's coming?
So, they try to predict as best as they can. Some years they are better than others. But again, like we talked about just a little bit earlier, even if it's not that particular flu strain, by you getting the vaccine, it helps protect you, at least gives you some protection to help reduce the symptoms that you would experience.
Right. So with the coronavirus, being that it's kind of like a flu kind of virus, a cold-ish virus, does it have a season when it warms up? Is that going to fade away? Because that's another thing I've heard, is that once the temperature warms up, we'll see a lessening effect of that.
Well, with this kind of viruses, one of the reasons that you see the spread more so in the winter months is because it's cold. So we all tend to huddle together. And that is one of the reasons why with any kind of virus that makes you cough, you're going to see a hike of it whenever it's cold outside.
Oh, very interesting. I never even thought of that. So, bottom line, coronavirus. Should our listeners be scared? Should they be buying canned food and holding up in the basement?
No, they should not. They should, wash their hands, wash your hands, wash your hands.
All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to come in here and talk about this with us. It certainly put me at ease.
At ease.
Well, no, not that way. At ease emotionally.
Oh, okay.
Emotional. So we're an emotional podcast, a fact-based emotional podcast.
I like it.
50% of the time we're right, 50% of the time.
No.
Except for this case
here,
where
this is
we're right
100%
of the time. 110% we're right.
Yes.
All right. Well, we will be right back with politics, because nothing goes good with
Should people be worried about that?
The
Yeah.
politics?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like people already are.
worried about politics.
Yes.
We'll just wait till the next segment.
Yes.
All right.
I can't wait.
We'll be back.
What does resiliency mean to you? For the folks at Fort Hood Resiliency Campus, resiliency is helping folks help themselves. The campus offers a wide range of programs, each aimed at assisting Fort Hood units and individuals in need of morale and team-building opportunities. Through programs like the Applied Fitness Center, Military Life Counselors, the Army Wellness Center, Nutrition Clinic, and the Warrior Quest Adventure Program, the Resiliency Campus headquarters is located on the 5th floor of the Shoemaker Center on Darnall Loop. To find out more about what the Fort Hood Resiliency Campus can offer you, look them up on Facebook or give them a call at 254-285-5693.
What is life? What's an honorable discharge? Sounds disgusting. Where'd my filing? Which end of the horse do I stick the carrot in?
Sporky asks a question.
I don't know. Hey, everybody. Sporky here, and I've got a big question. What is OPSEC?
Fork utensil. How is it that you don't know about operational security?
Annie Pumpkin. No need to be so formal. You can call me Sporky. All my friends do. And I know all about poo-poo-poo. But what is OPSEC?
Operational security's OPSEC, fork utensil.
Ooh, maybe it's OPSEC. That's spicy. Where do babies come from?
Fork utensil.
It must have something to do with the military and things. I know. I'll take pictures of stuff all over post and put them on the internet and ask, is this OPSEC? Is this OPSEC?
Fork utensil,
Ooh,
you
it
better
sure
not.
smells like OPSEC.
Look, there are 5 steps to OPSEC.
Oh.
Identifying critical information, identifying the threat,
Yeah.
assessing vulnerabilities,
Oh, yeah.
analyzing the risk,
Okay.
and developing and applying countermeasures.
What?
The
No.
OPSEC is pretty common sense, like not talking about troop movements or other sensitive things.
You mean it's a process by which organizations assess and protect information about things that could, if properly analyzed and grouped with other data by a clever adversary, reveal a bigger picture than ought to stay hidden.
That's exactly right, fork thingy.
Forky.
And like they used to say, loose lips sink ships.
Ooh, I love a good submarine joke, but seriously, where do babies come from?
Oh my goodness gracious.
Practicing good OPSEC is everybody's job. Protect your fellow service members. Don't be a sporky.
It's what your tax dollars sound like. Fort Hood's Great Big Podcast.
You're all set now?
Yes, I'm in regulation now.
You're back with us?
That's
Yes.
good.
It's always good to be in regs.
I know. I try.
Well, that's good.
There's so many rules.
So the holdup was earrings. For those of
Yeah.
you that weren't, here when all this started.
Screeched it to a halt.
You know what's better than trying to be in regs? Being in regs.
Well, yes.
All the sergeant majors out there gave a mighty hooah.
I know. They're all cringing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm standing at parade rest.
They can tell across the airwaves. They can tell. It sounds like her collar's up.
Yeah.
Her hand sounds like it's in her pocket.
Their spidey senses.
So the whole
start
regulation thing was you were in your service uniform.
I was, yes.
And then you changed into
Yes.
your combat uniform.
Yes.
Because we were taking too long to get to this point.
Exactly. Exactly. And still had your earrings in.
Yes, I forgot because I can't see them.
So it's not okay. It's not okay to be a girl.
Yes.
In that uniform.
I was. I feel slightly less magical now.
Oh.
You'll always be magical as long as you're part of the Great Big Podcast. The
That
minute
is
you
true.
leave, though,
That warms my. Oh, okay. This is what's holding it together.
you're done. Yeah, magical earrings.
Absolutely.
They're now pocket rings, aren't they?
Now they're yes.
They're in your pocket.
Well, no, I put them in a little bitty bag.
A little bitty bag? What, the
Yeah.
Army doesn't give you enough little pockets on your
Well,
uniform?
no,
You
they
had to put it
don't
in a
allow me
bag?
to stick my hands in my pockets. So
You
that's
can
part
put-
of the
You
regulation.
can't even put them in.
Yeah. Here are these pockets that you cannot use. So efficient.
Well, maybe if you stay in long enough, you can change that regulation.
Well, then I'll have nothing to love to hate if that happens.
You can always hate coronavirus.
That's true. I do. Well, I don't know if I hate it. I dislike it.
Well, I think a lot of people dislike it. There's a lot of strong dislike going on for the coronavirus.
Yes. My fiance was going to go take pictures of the ship that's docked in Yokohama because he lives about a 45-minute train ride away. But since they're releasing the people, that they're like, we don't really want to go to that city now.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You know, the
Yeah.
difficult thing about the coronavirus is even with all those safety techniques and wash your hands, cough into your elbow and all that,
Yes, all the good stuff.
it's still information is changing every day. It's almost like information fatigue
Yes.
from coronavirus.
It
but
is exhausting.
if you stay with those key things, washing your hands, coughing into your elbow, just common sense stuff, you're going to be okay. Those
Yeah.
are the odds. You're going to be okay.
Yeah.
But you want to know what else gets fatiguing?
Tell us, Charlie.
I will. Thank
Okay.
you. Politics. That 24-hour news cycle of politics. It seems like you can't go anywhere with stepping into a big, steamy pile of politics. It's all over TV. It's all over the internet. If you're on social media, it's all over there. People don't talk to people on social media because of politics.
Yes.
They ban their families. This is causing, serious problems.
Yeah.
And even though we are apolitical in the Army,
Why, yes, we are.
we're still political as people.
Right.
People. The person inside the uniform who does not have their hand in their pockets or earrings in their ear still has an opinion.
This is true.
And they still have the right to vote.
They do. You don't lose that unless you're a felon
That's right.
in
And-
some
In
states.
some states.
Oh.
And that is why right over here
Mm-hmm.
is Major Pam Carlisle. She is the Fort Hood Voting Assistance Officer. Thank you, ma'am, for coming in.
Thank you for inviting me.
Right. And, it's so awesome to have you here, but it's even more awesome to have you closer to the microphone. If you could lean in there, because everyone really wants to know
Right
what
there.
you have to say.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid of it. It's not going to bite.
And believe me, you told me this before starting this podcast that my mouth needed to be on the mic
Yeah, you need
in
to
order
be
to
even,
be heard.
even closer.
Oh,
you
even
gotta
closer?
get-
Absolutely.
Yeah. Nice and
Okay,
cozy.
let me
Yep.
bring it to me.
Oh,
Let me
that
bring
is
the mic to me.
beautiful.
Okay.
So
Yes,
beautiful.
Now we can hear your
Okay.
melodious voice.
So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
inviting me.
Mhm.
Yes.
Voting. What's up with that?
That's right.
See, The crickets.
Yeah.
The crickets.
Yes, we are.
No, that's not.
Oh, come on.
There we go.
Oh, there
The
you go,
purple.
crickets. Okay, enough crickets.
You're gonna get that
And
someday.
Kill him.
Oh.
Stepped on all this cricket. Yes, voting.
Yes.
Let's get back to that.
Yes, voting 2020. We are about 263 days. I lost count, but we are about 260 some odd days out from the 2020 election.
Wow.
Yes.
Christmas is coming too.
Yes.
Still that far, huh?
Yes,
Seems like
yes.
it's been going on for the last
2 years.
3
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, so November will be here before we know it.
Mm-hmm.
But my job here as the Fort Hood voting assistance officer is to kind of streamline the process for soldiers and their family members. And again, I'm the installation voting assistance officers, but we do have over 200 unit voting assistance officers
Wow.
there to assist soldiers in uniforms overseas and, and their family members.
It's more than just. Is it more than just? Well, give me the process. Is it just fill out a form and we're good?
Kind of simple as that. Yes, you have a what we call the voter registration and absentee ballot request. It is a simple form to fill out.
Mm-hmm.
I have, for example, my state, Alabama. I'm from the great state of Alabama.
Nice.
Roll Tide.
Yes, we have our
Unless you're from Auburn.
our state primary, presidential state primary is March 3rd, along with Texas. So that's what we consider Super Tuesday.
Yeah, right around the corner.
So I have until February 15th to have my ballot postmarked and sent to the election office there in Alabama.
Right.
And once the election office there in Alabama gets it, they verify all the information, and they will send my voting materials back to where I am here in Texas, or they can send it to me online.
Oh, wait,
And
I don't understand. So you're here in Texas. You're at Fort Hood, right?
Yes.
You have a home
Yes.
here, right?
Yes.
So why can't you just go out and vote?
You could if you change your state of residency.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is something for soldiers who move every 3 years,
Right.
unless they change their residency every 3 years. This is the way to do it.
Yes. Yes. This is the way to do it. Yes.
And for those deployed as well.
Yes. Yes. We have, of course, we have numerous soldiers that are overseas, doing the great things that they do, but they still have that opportunity to cast their vote.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
Say you missed the primaries, you can still register for the general election in November.
That is
correct?
correct.
And
that is correct.
folks have a lot more time between now and then to get that accomplished, right?
That is correct. And again, you can go to the website to get the.
You're physically doing what my brain is doing most of the time.
Yeah.
You just had it. What?
Yes, you can go to www.fvap.gov to get all of the information regarding your specific state and the requirements to cast your vote.
Perfect.
All right, perfect.
Perfect. Charlie was talking about social media and folks having opinions. So what about folks in uniform? I mean, it's a little different for us, isn't it?
Yes, it's very different for us.
You too, Charlie.
Yeah, I know.
Because we have one boss, and that's the commander-in-chief.
Yes.
No matter what our beliefs, I shouldn't say our beliefs, but, we have one job to do. And that's
political persuasion.
Yeah.
right.
You believe.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. We have one commander-in-chief. And so, what we try not to do is bring our personal political views into the office.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, it's just our political views and our opinions about, certain issues. And in essence, that's why the Hatch Act was developed, so that we could just remain focused on, our mission.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the Hatch Act? Because somebody got in trouble for violating it here.
Not in here.
No. And in the federal government, somebody got slam dunk. So the Hatch Act is a federal law passed in 1939. It limits certain political activities of federal government employees, such as Dave and Brianna and myself, as well as some state, District of Columbia, and local government employees who work in connection with federally funded programs.
Right.
The law's purposes are to ensure that federal programs are administered in a nonpartisan fashion to protect federal employees from political coercion and to ensure that federal employees are advanced based on merit and not based on political affiliation.
And there you have it.
And there you have it.
There it is.
So what that means is we are all peoples. Peoples is peoples. But when you're wearing the uniform, you're a soldier and you represent something greater than you as a person.
Right.
You're now a representative of the United States Army and the federal government. So when you're in your uniform on social media, picture of you, or on Twitter, or at some political rally or whatever, and you make a statement, I support candidate X, or candidate Z is a real dodo head, you are not speaking for yourself. You are speaking for the United States Army and the federal government.
Right.
There's a lot of people that, God bless them, don't seem to get that. Part of my duties here at, I got to say duty. That's great.
I was going to
say. I know, that's so mature of myself. Part of what I do here is as a social media manager. So I get to see what everybody says on social media, on our platforms, and if we're tagged in anything, and I see it all. And I spend a great deal of my day shaking my head in disbelief over what is said, because I look at those and I say, golly, person, look at all these pictures. You're saying you're a soldier here. Here's your profile pictures, you and your uniform, and you're using this horrible, horrible language. You're representing more than yourself. You're representing me. You're representing Fort Hood. So you have to be real careful of that.
Yes.
For officers, even more so, don't you think, ma'am?
Yes. I will use myself as an example. Yes, I have a social media page. I have a Facebook. I have Instagram. But I do not talk about politics. You could probably go to my page and you wouldn't even think that I was in the military, because I don't have anything that, that kind of gives that indicates that,
It's actually good for security too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's good OPSEC.
Yeah, it's great OPSEC.
Right. But I have to keep in mind that, what my job is, and overall, I have to look at the bigger picture, that, I'm here to serve my country, regardless of, politics, regardless of whatever, anybody else's opinion. I have one job to serve, and that's the commander in chief. And so I've always been like that. Mm-hmm. And that's how I control my political opinion.
Sure. I mean, people come and people go politically, but our job in the Army is to stand strong and fairly through it all.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think when you mentioned the social media thing, it's hard for people to separate, or to remember that, they are a soldier and they're representing something, or even if you're, a spouse of a soldier or you're affiliated in some way, people view, your social media, your page as your all encompassing ideals. So whenever they do say something negative, it's hard for them to remember that all the time, 24/7, you have to represent, or that you are representing something bigger than yourself.
No, that's very true. What I've had to do is, because I am very vocal and opinionated, is
you don't say.
No. Yeah.
I would never have thought that.
So I'll see something that, what is it that the kids say? It triggers me. I become triggered.
Yes.
And so I have to really stop and think before I post, because I think what good is me voicing my opinion on this going to do in the long run.
Yes.
I'm trying to make an effort in life to have the things that I do equal a positive effect on myself, others, in the world, as part of as not a negative effect. Griping, because really that's what we do on social media, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We gripe and then we share pictures of cute animals. So it's almost like America's Funniest Home Videos took over our lives, and now that's just what we live.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's Bob Saget in your house every day and people getting hit in the crotch. That's what life is like now.
Oh, it does feel like that a lot many days.
Yeah, but I'm trying to turn negatives into pluses and think before I post stupid stuff. That doesn't mean I always succeed, but I like to think I'm on the upswing and doing better. Now, I got a question for you, and you may not have the answer to that. This is cool. But what if somebody wants to create an alternate profile, change their name, so there's nothing that identifies them at all as themselves. They've made up an alias. They got nothing that ties them to the Army, nothing, anything like that. Can they then share their opinions on that page?
I think we call those trolls. And I think and unfortunately, that happens. That happens every single day. And in some situations, they are caught, depending on, how their opinions, travel through the, social media atmosphere. So is there something in place that, that we can stop that, that we can control that? I don't think so, because it's happening probably right now.
Sure. Oh, I guarantee it is.
Yeah.
Probably on our page.
And kind of like you, I look through when I see political commentary, especially from a service member. I do look at the comments. I read the comments, and I'm like, is this a real account, or is this
right?
Something else that's going on here? So you just have to pay close attention, and again, think before you say or post anything.
That's right, because you're something bigger than yourself. Right now, you're a part of that bigger family.
Right.
Taking it back to voting, something bigger than all of us is just having the right to vote.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. You told me before we came into the studio that you'll be retiring from the Army soon.
Yes.
And really, voting assistance officer for Fort Hood, this is your last hurrah, right? This is your last big job?
Yes, it is. And
how does that make you feel? I mean, you're going out on a high note.
Yeah, and thinking about that, this is a good way to end my career, doing something that will have a positive impact for the future. And, because I'm here to remind soldiers in uniform and their families and, soldiers overseas that you have a right to vote. Whatever your political view, whatever your political, opinion is, you have the right to vote. You have the right to voice that opinion through your vote. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to, kind of take the bias out of that. I'm just here to tell you what you have to do to vote, because your vote matters. Your vote counts.
Yeah. So what do you say to those soldiers? Because I'm sure you may hear this a lot when you go out and talk about it, but people are hesitant to vote, especially younger people like my generation. They tend to not be a majority of the voters that go out and stand in the lines, and have their voice be heard. What would you say to what do you say to those soldiers to convince them that their voice matters, or that their count matters to the bigger picture?
That is a very good question, because I've often asked myself the question too. Does my vote count? And yeah, it does, because it's a right that you have. Whatever interest that you have that you want to push. For example, climate change. Yeah, climate change seems to be I don't want to say a millennial, interest, but if that's your focus and you find a candidate that pushes that, that pushes that agenda for you, that's your time to get out there and do that, to get out there and cast your vote for your interest, because it not only impacts what's going on now, but your future. You won't be 20 all your life. So you want to, have that right to cast that vote and to impact your future.
No, I think that's right. And but I think people don't get is because we're so insular, looking inside.
Yeah.
Is that you feel like, well, I have this opinion, my vote's not going to count, so I'm not going to vote. But you don't know, there's 10,000, 20,000 other people that feel the same way, that if you all went out there and vote, it amounts to something.
Yeah, it can make a difference for sure.
Right, and especially in your local, in your state and local elections. That's where you really have the most impact of getting your interest across. So your vote counts at the state, federal, and local levels.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I can remember growing up watching some state elections where it's like, this guy won by 4. Yeah. It's like, if 5 people had bothered to cast a vote, that history was changed.
I remember I never saw this movie, but I saw a trailer a couple years ago about a movie where the vote for like the president was split by 1, and like the 2 candidates try to convince the guy to vote for him. Do you know which movie I'm talking about? I think you're talking
about the 2000 elections. So they involved hanging chads. And that was real.
No, I never saw it though, but did anyone see that movie at all?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Dang, okay.
It was a fever dream, Brianna.
No, it wasn't, I swear, because one of it was a male that hadn't voted, and he had a daughter, and she was like, she was young, so she couldn't vote. But I remember the actress. I can't remember her name right now, but it wasn't a fever dream. I saw it in a trailer.
All right, listeners, if you know what Brianna's talking about.
That movie starring Hanging Chad.
Yes, please validate me.
Yeah, drop us a line at forthoodpao@gmail.com so that Brianna.
Yes, it will make a difference to me.
Now, ma'am, you're not doing this all by yourself, right? There are hundreds of voting assistance officers right here at the Great Place, right?
That is correct. I currently work in the Copeland Center. And in the Copeland Center, I'm able to see all of the soldiers that are in and out processing. And once they hit the units, the ones that are in processing Fort Hood, and they go to their respective units, the unit VAOs are there to help them through the process, to explain it to them and to help them fill out the forms. So that's what the unit VAOs are there for.
Wow, the Army's really hooking people up to vote.
Yes.
It's almost like they want them to.
Yes, it is your right. Well, it is your right.
I would say it's more than a right if you're in the Army, because we're out there laying our lives on the line for other countries so that they can be free and do stuff. And if you're not voting while you're doing that, you're a bit of an idiot.
Ow.
Hey, I'm just saying. Hey, if you're out there laying your life on the line for someone so that this fella can vote, why aren't you voting?
She's not going to quite speak up on, the whole idiot thing. You know that, right?
I know. This was Charlie's opinion.
That's Charlie being Charlie.
Mm-hmm. We're kind of dealing with a generation and a mindset where if you voiced your opinion on social media or liked something, that was good enough. Why bother getting out and driving or walking down to the polling place or whatever? You let your voice be heard online. But if you want change, then you need to get out there and vote.
Yes.
And if you like the status quo right now, how it is right now, you need to get out there and vote.
Yes.
Because neither of those is going to happen if you don't do it.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Right.
You have the power.
You have the power.
That's right. If you're 18 or older and not a felon.
In some states.
In some states, yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. In some states, yes.
Wonderful. Right. Well, thank you so much. And remember to please vote.
I will.
Thank you, Charlie.
I think she was talking to more than me, though.
Oh.
Talk to everyone.
Everyone.
Oh, everybody.
Ma'am, thank you for definitely being with us today.
Thank you for inviting me. And again, I am located at the Copeland Center, first floor, room B109, and I am here to help you.
Right. Wonderful.
No excuses.
Yes.
No excuses. And we'll be right back after this with some excuses.
Welcome back, everybody. Today we'll be doing a simple little scene that I think you all will enjoy. Let's start with a little 2-inch brush and a touch of Van Dyke Brown. Make a little just like that. There you go. Now we'll switch to the sap green, and we're going to make a happy tree. Oh, this is a very happy tree. He's happy because he received a scholarship grant from the Military Children Program, administered by the non-profit Fisher House Foundation. As we add a little kiss of titanium white to our happy tree, it reminds me that there are 500 scholarship grants, each for $2,000 that will be awarded for the 2020-2021 school year. Oh, that's nice. Now we'll use a little burnt umber to create a little deer standing under our happy tree. He's a happy tree friend deer. That comes to mind because eligibility for the scholarship program is determined using the military deers database. I guess at this point we'll add a little forest phone booth so that our forest friends can call 856-616-9311 to get more information on the scholarships. And I'll put a little laptop on this toadstool so they can all visit militaryscholar.org for more information as well. And shoot, with that I think we just about have a finished painting. As long as those scholarship applicants get their submissions in by February 24th. So I'd like to wish you happy painting, get those scholarships in, and God bless, my friend.
It's a me, Super Mario. Woohoo! Hello to all my friends at the Fort Hood's Great Big Podcast. You're number one.
Coming on strong on a Monday. I feel so low. Won't be long till one day when you know. Coming on strong on a Tuesday.
That was great.
It's hard to off the top of my head.
It's like you're playing and rapping.
I forget. Oh no!
Because you went into the Addams Family there for a second.
I'm having a hard time remembering.
So Brianna, the Army pays you for this? This is tax dollars? Tax dollars are going into that.
I'm usually looking at music.
I get you.
It's not all in my head.
Bringing us back with the patriotic tune.
Yeah, I know. Let me show you. But no, never mind.
Brianna, you are killing it, but not in the way I think you want to be doing it.
Flute solo.
All right.
You were there, man.
God
bless America.
And if you're still with us, that marks the end of
You weren't clapping, Charlie.
a roller coaster ride.
Over the head,
Yes.
the overhand arm clap that
Yes.
some people can't do.
I can't do that.
There's a lot of stuff you can't do.
It's so
Ow.
true.
I know.
Ouch. You know what else I can't do?
What?
I can't go to parade rest.
Oh.
Yeah. I have to put my hands in front at the alternate position.
I did not know there was an alternate parade rest position.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's what you do when
is.
you're playing dodgeball or soccer and
Yeah,
you're
oh, yeah.
guarding
that's
the
alternate
goal.
parade
Yeah.
rest.
Yeah. So every time I'm in formation, they're like, "Oh, why are your hands the wrong?" I'm like, "Well, I can't put my hand behind my back because of my shoulder."
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's on my permanent. So
I got a profile for this.
Yeah, it's pretty intense actually. There's a lot of limitations on there, but I try.
Well, we're glad you're able to make it in.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Maybe after that flute solo.
I tried.
Jury is out.
Sorry.
No, but seriously, it's great to hear you play the flute because we talk about it a lot. And I know that you're used to having sheet music in front of you, so you were kind of winging it. That was more the jazz version.
Yes. That's what that is exactly.
Had a little scatting in there.
I meant to do all of that. That was my interpretation of it. So if you don't get it, then you can leave.
We really appreciated it. It was a nice change of pace from deadly viruses and politics, voting assistance.
Which one's the virus?
That was
the election.
Yeah,
pretty much. They're both.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks, you can't be inoculated from democracy. Oh, you can. It's called communism.
I was about to say.
Oh,
you could.
Don't go there.
You can. All right. So, Brianna, you're all fluted up.
Yeah.
So why don't you flute us out of this?
Okay.
And we'll move on to next week's podcast where Dave will not be here.
Nope.
Dave is going on vacation.
Yeah.
But did you say you wanted to try to call in? Did you still want to do that?
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
We'll see if Dave calls in.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
I could be busy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But y'all have fun, okay?
Oh, we will.
Yeah,
Nothing
of course.
but.
How can we have fun when you're gone?
That's true.
Too easy. Just say nice things about me.
What
okay?
will we do?
All the wrong things. You can guarantee that.
Yeah.
All right. So, Brianna, play us a little music as we
I'm gonna
drift into the
try
ether.
not to mess this one up too.
All right.
But
We
we'll
appreciate that.
Okay.
Beautiful. You know, the thing was, isn't that what you usually play at a funeral?
Not necessarily.
It was better than Near My God to Thee.
Also for prayer
Titanic
breakfast.
goes down slowly into the
Oh,
podcasting.
that was so sad in that movie when they went down with the ship.
You want to know what?
The band?
That was
Yeah.
real.
It
that
was.
happened.
That really
I know.
happened,
I know
yeah.
it
really
did.
happened.
Yeah.
If the first cavalry division was on a ship and it was sinking,
Oh, no.
would you guys play?
Probably not.
No, just run for the lifeboats.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. No, I probably would not be playing.
Well, to each their own.
Yeah.
All right, loyal listeners, we'll see you next week, except we won't be seeing Dave because he's not here.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
I agape you.
You should put that in there.
Driving down the road again. Tire starts thinning and cracks crumble to gravel lines. Just on the travel